Item 17, fire apparatus purchase agreement. Again, Mr. Morrison. Thank you, enterprise representatives, too. Thank you for your time. Make us a great deal.
Welcome to California.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Joining me tonight for this item on Teams is Christian Sprunger from NHA Advisors, and Tony Jane, of course, is going to remain for this item as well. And I also have your Fire Chief, Jesse Alexander, helping with the presentation tonight. Staff has identified 2 engines in the city's fleet for replacement, a 1992 ladder truck and a 2002 Type 1 engine, which is a pumper. The latest quotes are $1,317,000 for the truck and $769,000 for the engine, completely outfitted. At the end or very near the end of the apparatus life, we have only saved $1.3 million of the $2.1 needed to replace these 2 vehicles. Staff views lease financing as the most efficient method of replacing apparatus today, leaving the city with the most flexibility for cash on hand. Staff is recommending staying with Pierce for efficiencies in maintenance and training, and Golden State Fire Apparatus is the Pierce dealer in the Sacramento region. Pricing does come through Sourcewell, which is a government purchasing consortium.
Mayor, council members, you have 2 items before you this evening on requests for replacement of apparatus. The first one is a 2002 Pierce Type 1 engine. In your staff report, it's listed as 0220. There's 3 specific reasons we'd want to replace this. The first is that it's been in service for the 20th year of being in service. The average life expectancy for a first out piece of apparatus per industry standards is 15, so it's exceeded its normal life expectancy. The second is its maintenance costs. In the last 3 years, maintenance cost has been over $78,000. And this picture was taken at the fleet maintenance shop where it's getting or just finished up repairs, and so that number will increase for that 3-year average. And then in the mileage and hours, so this engine has over 175,000 miles and over 20,000 hours of operations. So don't think of this as your personal vehicle. The rapid acceleration and deceleration that happens as a person drives an emergency apparatus puts a lot of wear and tear on equipment. So 175,000, think of it almost in like dog years where it increases exponentially there. So that's where we're at, and that's why we're requesting. We want to recommend that it be replaced with a 2020 Pierce Velocity engine with a 1,500 GPM pump and a 750-gallon water tank. This would be the same exact spec from our previous engine that we purchased. This would allow standardization from Pierce for our apparatus, which allows for consistency and maintenance, and allows our fleet maintenance to pre-order parts for a quicker turnaround on repair issues, such as brakes, filters, tires, and rims that they can keep in stock. By doing this, this would allow the 2002 engine to go into a permanent reserve status and allow us to retire a 1995 engine that has been in service for 26 years. The second engine before you tonight, or piece of apparatus, is a 1992 Pierce Quint 90-foot ladder. It's listed on your staff report as 9211. 4 main reasons why we'd recommend that this be replaced is age. This is the 30th year of this apparatus being in service, which is older than a majority of the fire department personnel that we have on staff. So normal life expectancy of a fire apparatus is 25 years per industry standards and NFPA, so we've exceeded that. Maintenance costs for this, the last 3 years have been $61,000. Replacement parts is the third, which is becoming a little more challenging. Based upon the age of the apparatus, we're having to have parts manufactured to be replaced. Currently, there's a swivel that is having seepage at the turntable, and if that requires to be replaced, that will far exceed the value of this piece of apparatus that we could get in a bid process or at auction process. And then finally, the capabilities. Due to current designs, this is not the type of equipment or apparatus that we need in regards to our capabilities as a first out piece of equipment. So we're requesting that it be replaced with a 2020 107-foot Pierce Ascendant tandem quint axle with a 20,000 GPM pump and a 500-gallon water tank. This aerial ladder will have a 107-foot vertical reach and a 100-foot horizontal reach with a 750-pound tip capacity that will allow multiple firefighters on the tip, which is extremely important for that rescue process. There are significant increases in the capabilities from our current ladder truck and this recommendation, which will allow this apparatus to be used as a first out piece of equipment on all fires and major extrications. Do we have any questions?
I was good until you said that it was older than most of the firefighters, because I was the guy that drove that here first. So,
Sorry, Mayor.
yeah, thanks. No, any questions from the council on either the engine or the ladder truck?
Jesse, just a completely unrelated, obviously, I'm clearly going to vote in favor of this. However, I'm curious, where's this thing going to end up?
This will go out to auction to try to get as much value as we possibly can. We, with the fleet manager, we've looked at what other vehicles that are roughly around this process. The last one we saw was a 2001 bucket ladder truck that went for, I believe it was $9,000. So probably not going to receive a lot of money in the bid process.
I'm just curious, is it going to be, did they typically get reused as a fire truck somewhere? I have no idea.
Probably not on the age of this one and the capabilities. Sometimes people just pick it up to use as side, but there are some apparatus that are picked up by very small departments that are not utilized, but with the extent of what we're
Maybe
needing.
a parade or a show vehicle or some sort.
It can be.
Just curious. Thank you.
So now that you asked that question, I'm curious about the other, how much would the other auction, and how could someone auction for that? Just curious.
So the other one would go into a permanent reserve status, and then that would allow us. And then that would allow us to retire and send to auction another engine. I have not checked to see what that would get at the current prices, but you happen to have a recommendation on that price?
They go anywhere between $10,000 and $20,000, depending on what the condition of them is. But sometimes the market gets flooded with them. Like I said, they turn into a parade piece.
Replacement apparatus was already described by the chief. NHA Advisors prepared a lease bid for receiving proposals from 14 banks, resulting in a 1.44% proposal coming to council on August 17th. And so this will be for 10-year leases on these vehicles and 3 others. However, to maximize our discounts on these purchases, we must make the purchase by July 31st to avoid a pandemic-induced metal surcharge of $13,000. And we must pay up front for both engines for an additional $69,000 discount. The city is currently earning 22 basis points. That's 0.22% in LAIF, which is our best investment option at this time. So the interest income impact will be very minimal to spend this money now. Staff is requesting an interim appropriation to make the purchase in advance, then reimbursing the general fund dollars in the vehicle replacement fund with lease proceeds. The build time for the vehicles is currently around 14 months. So we recommend adopting a resolution for the agreement with Golden State Fire Apparatus of Sacramento, California, authorize an interim appropriation with reimbursement, and authorize an appropriation of $1,906,688.33 of vehicle replacement funds and the following reimbursement. With that, I'll entertain any questions with a photo of the proposed new engine. New truck.
Any questions from the council?
Through the mayor.
Yes.
Spencer, something you said in your presentation started questioning, and something the chief said, 14-month lead time, but then I believe, Chief, you said the apparatus was a 2020, not a 21. but with a lead time, can you explain what are we actually getting in this? Do they have the apparatus? We would get it sooner? Or is this where they're at in production cycle? Where exactly are they at?
So in the process, we've been working with them to get the specific specifications of what we're looking for. So similar to purchasing your personal vehicle, sometimes there's that delay. So they're going to have to build it based upon the specifications. So we're submitting those specs right now. And so that process will take anywhere from 9 to 14 months, depending on how this goes to build it out.
For both of them?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions from the council? How about comments from the public?
My name's Thomas Burns. So I'm curious, for Yuba City, the reach on that was like 115 feet
107
or 107?
vertically, 100 horizontally.
Okay. I mean, where would we use that in this city? Good question, I think.
So I can answer that. So it's not necessarily the vertical reach that we're always looking for. So anything right now over 23 feet in our community, based upon the ladders that we have on our engines, we're not necessarily able to access. And that's really important because for a variety of reasons, as we grow higher, we need to make sure that we're able to access victims that are probably in a window. Secondly, and most importantly for me, is the most efficient and effective way for us to mitigate fires with modern fire behavior is through vertical ventilation. So we need to be able to access those roofs in a timely fashion, to cut holes in them, let all that hot smoky gas up and out. So sometimes you're not able to access that with the ground ladders, especially when you have second story or higher. The third reason that goes along with that, we have a lot of tile roofs in this community. And what worries me is that's a very high-risk, dangerous operation for vertical ventilation, so much so that Phoenix Fire Department doesn't even send people on the roof with their tiles. So what this will allow us with that horizontal reach is from the road, we're able to stretch that out. They're able to access and vertically vent while staying on the ladder, which is much more safer and efficient for our firefighters.
He nailed that answer, didn't he?
You can't tell the chief's a little passionate.
Yeah. Like, good thing we hired him. Good job, chief.
Other questions from the public?
Will our existing parking facilities handle that traffic?
You'd have to go to the microphone, please. No problem. We want everybody to be able to hear your question.
Sorry, I just didn't want to get up. I'm curious
He's
about the
honest.
length of the truck. Will our existing storage facilities handle that rig?
The answer to that is yes.
Put a
We
lot of
have
money into one of the fire stations.
Yes, we have 2 fire stations that will adequately support the storing of that apparatus.
Judy, I can't remember if I asked you about online people.
You have not asked, and there's no comments.
Okay.
And the gentleman that just spoke, what was his name? Do you know?
Lawrence Burns, sorry. Is that my name?
Okay.
All right, well, first of all, I'd like to thank the fire department staff for their patience. These things are decades old. And this will make our community safer, make our personnel safer. So it's my pleasure to move to approve staff recommendations A, B, and C.
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilperson Harris, second by Vice Mayor Shaw. All those in favor of item 17 signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposition? Hearing none, item 17 passes unanimously. Thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Chief. You guys in the back row, too.
So now the vehicle will be younger, okay? So, thanks for.
You guys' day is coming. One day
Yeah,
you'll hear
yeah.
that speech.
No kidding.
Not me, but the rest of these guys.